Oh, well, hello, and welcome to CarnivalSpirits Juggalo Jedi Council. In this council meeting, we will be discussing the era of the marvelous missing link. Enjoy!
Woohoo! This is Snaps with the Jedi Council. Bum bum bum. With the lost comes the found, and with the bad comes the good. Lost was kind of darker, found was more enlightening, and you know, the bad in this era is obviously the family division. But the good, I think, is found individually within each Juggalo, and the good that I found is at the 2015 gathering when that shit dropped, I found my missing link, literally. I found my Juggalo there. We've since gone on many Juggalo adventures together. He has saved my life and changed my life in so many good ways that even though these aren't my favorite CDs, no hate, I'm gonna have to say this is definitely my favorite era.
What up, y'all? Talking about the marvelous missing link era, and I'm gonna tell you right now that this has been probably the shittiest era that I've been through. And I've been through, you know, multiple Joker Cards eras, and this one is pretty much the stalest one that I've been part of. Not that the music sucks, but everything going on the scene in the, you know, in the Juggalo community, a lot of divisiveness and shit with Twisted, and you know, I love both parties, and you know the whole fucking story, and I'm ready for this fucking era to be over. The albums, I love, you know, a few on Lost, I love a few on Found, but I'm ready for this fucking era to be done. I'm ready for the new shit, and move forward and quit with all this staleness, you know, and that's my fucking word on this marvelous missing link era. Thank God it's over.
So let's take a moment to talk about the roster of psychopathic records during the era of the missing link. So, Light got signed. Ouija Mac got signed. Blase Rose came and went. DJ Paul had a short little stint. He dropped one album titled Master of Evil. That shit was fresh as fuck. And he left Psychopathic on good terms. Young Wicked, gone. Now that motherfucker was being built up extensively. He had production on the Missing Link, was on the Missing Link tour, not just performing a solo set, but was also on stage with ICP performing songs. But we all know what happened to him, right?
Holy fucking shit. The fucking era of the marvelous missing link has just been a fucking roller coaster. From friendships ending, deals being made, people brought in, love affairs, it has it all. But the thing that gets me about this era is just the split, I guess you could say, between Juggalos when it comes to M&E and Psychopathic. There's a lot of gray in between. I can't wait to see some of the new artists like Ouija Mac and Light, what they do in the future. But it all started here during this era, the marvelous missing link. And man, it's going to be a roller coaster ride for the future.
Basically, when it comes to the marvelous missing link as a whole, the era as a whole, you know, it was very interesting. We had Carnival Carnage show, Amazing Jungle Brothers show, the Tunnel of Love, the first ever DCG con, Into the Echo Side came out during this era, you know, Juggalos Against Sanity came out in this era. Friendships fall apart. You had a division between the Juggalo community, and that split between Psychopathic and M&E. It's been one heck of a roller coaster ride. Bump, 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 bump. This looks like smooth, then no, bump, 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 bump. So yeah, It was an interesting era. There was a lot of good dope shows, that's for sure.
The era of the missing link. I got to go to my first gathering in 2016. Got to meet up with YouTube ninjas who I've known for a few years now. Made memories. We've seen tours based around albums being performed front to back. The Great Malenko, the Riddle Box. Very successful tours. Old school ninjas appreciate it. New school ninjas got to see how it was back in the day. Insane Clown Posse took to Washington to march alongside the Juggalos to fight the FBI on the gang label. I would think that the Missing Link era was very successful.
The era of the Missing Link has been a very interesting one indeed. I'd have to say it is one that's definitely one that's going to be remembered for a long time. It's kind of like in a reverse role. You had Lost come out first, then Found, and just with the way everything has happened at Psychopathic Records and everything like that, it's kind of worked backwards, where everything was like so great and moving forward, and then it just all kind of fell apart starting this year. And of course, as we end this year, we close out that era of the Marvelous Missing Link, and a lot of great things came to fruition, but, you know, it is the way it is, and I think this era will be remembered for just how amazing it really was. Regardless of the good, the bad, and the ugly, it's going to be remembered, and it was an epic time.
So the Marvelous Missing Link era. Biggest thing that sticks out to me is the first, hopefully annual, Dark Carnival Games Convention, the DCG Con. I went to it. It was freaking awesome. You know, everything was great. They set up everything great. The after parties were awesome, and ended up meeting up with DC Fago Guy and Megs and Crazy McCormick and his girl. We ended up playing some Quest for Shangri-La. Ended up playing some Juggalos Against Sanity. You know, went to all the after parties, hung out all 3 days. You know, wandered around the flea market. Man, it was awesome. Another big thing, kind of a bone though, that kind of sticks in my mind is obviously the passing of Shaggy's older brother, John Utzler. You know, OG, founding member of ICP. A lot of stuff could be different if he hadn't come along. You know, he was a founding member. Obviously, Jay met Shaggy through him. You know, things could have gone totally differently if he hadn't been there. You know, this whole Juggalo subculture we have could be completely different if it wasn't for John Utzler. So, pretty crazy to think about in 2 years since he passed away. Time flies, but... So, overall, though, that's something that sticks in my mind quite a bit. I try not to dwell on it too much, but, you know, because it's kind of a downer, but still something to think about, you know. But, other than that, man, it's been a great era. I'm looking forward to the next one, and... I can't wait. And Jump Steady, if you're watching, do another DCG Con next year. I'll definitely be there.
Miss Jinx here again. The Missing Link, Lost, and Found. At the beginning of this era, I was definitely lost. Didn't foresee it getting better until I attended the most recent Juggalo weekend. I was reunited with Juggalos I hadn't seen in a decade or more, kind of refilled that whole carnival spirit, if you will. And just as I came away from that, I began to really feel like myself again. Such a fresh weekend. The Jekyll brothers, come on. And as I began to kind of reawaken, I had a weird opportunity to attend the Juggalo March on Washington. And I have to say, that was single-handedly the most prolific and important experience that I've had in this community ever, and probably ever will have. I mean, it was amazing. Of course, I saw people from YouTube. I hung out with Beastmaster, CPN, Mac and Hose, Crazy McCormick, Sista Hatchet. You know, I came away from that experience feeling probably more refreshed than I ever have before at one of those events. I can definitely say, started off lost and ended up found. I guess that's all we can hope for.
The Missing Link era is some of the craziest times I've ever seen being a Juggalo. I love how they've been doing the Wraith performed at the Gathering this year. Last year, seeing Wizard of the Hood live at the gathering. The backlit stage monitors were like 3D. I attended the march on Washington, D.C., and it was just amazing to take part and to experience that. I wouldn't trade it for anything. The Missing Link albums, a lot different than what we're used to with Mikey Clark production, but I love ICP spitting over EDM beats or remixes, Kuma, Seven, the albums themselves with the lost and the found concept, having faith is so blunt in your face. That shit definitely strikes a chord with Spirits of the Dark Carnival.